Hello and welcome into WCSN's coverage of ASU men's basketball. My name is Eliav Gabay. With me are ASU basketball insiders Steve Van Durme and Troy Tauscher. Now guys, the weekend's coming up, opening weekend for basketball. They're playing Portland State on Friday and Cal Poly on Sunday. Now let's just compare this team to last year right now, Troy. What are the differences or what are the similarities between this year's team and last year's team?
Well, I think the big difference with this team is they just have more players now. Last season, at the end of last year, they had 8 players who were both healthy and eligible, and the lack of depth really hurt them, and it's one of the reasons they went 5-13 in the conference. This year, they've got Sam Cunliffe coming in as a new recruit, transfer guard Shannon Evans is available, they've got some more players, and overall, there's just more talent on this roster. They bring a lot more to the table, especially on the perimeter. They have a lot of guys who can score the basketball, and that's a big thing for them, because last season, they just ran out of players, essentially. But now, the biggest difference from this year is they're a lot more dynamic. They just have a lot more players who can do things for them and bring things, particularly on the offensive end. So I see a much better year for them, and I think this team is going to look drastically different.
Now, Steve, I'll pass it on to you. Let's talk about some non-conference games. What is the biggest non-conference game for ASU this season?
So one of the things ASU is looking to work on this year is become a more formidable team in the Pac-12. And one of the things that can start that process is being able to win games on the road. So the game that's circled on my schedule, ASU at San Diego State in December. Right. Now San Diego State, that's a very tough place to go in and win, go in and play. It's going to be a little bit similar to last year with that road game at UNLV, hostile environment, Mountain West team. But this San Diego State team I expect to be a little bit better than that UNLV team last year. So it'll be interesting to see how the new look Sun Devils handle that road environment as they get ready to go into Pac-12 play.
Now guys, we talked about some general stuff. Let's talk about some specific stuff. Now we know they're playing Cal Poly and Portland State this weekend. Steve, I'll keep it with you. What are some key players we should see from ASU and we should expect to step up this weekend?
Yeah, I would definitely look to the front court, especially Jethro Shisumpa, a big man recruited in by Bobby Hurley this year. I mean, the Sun Devils really need to take a step forward in that front court. Last season, they were really bullied in the paint. Right. They couldn't defend very well. They couldn't grab rebounds. And that's exactly why Shisumpa was brought here to help out with that. So it'll be very interesting to see how they respond to some expectations they have coming in this year, not only this weekend, but for the entire season.
Now, Troy, I'll pass it on to you now. You know, Portland State, Cal Poly, not the strongest teams. What should Sun Devil fans expect from these teams?
Well, the big thing with Portland State is that they are very good at passing. Okay. They led the Big Sky Conference in assists last year. They had almost 100 more assists than the team in second place. So they can clearly get the ball moving around. And Kalen Robinson is an ASU transfer now, the starting point guard for this team, and has been a big asset for them. And so if you're Arizona State, the big thing you're looking for is you can't play too aggressively on defense. You want to try to cut off the passing lanes, you want to try to go for steals, but you also know that if you double team at the wrong time or if you make any sort of mistake, they'll be able to find the open shooter. So against Portland State, I'm really looking for ASU's defense to step up and try to deny them the ability to move the ball. Switching over to Cal Poly, their defense was the worst in the Big West last season by a fairly wide margin, and they haven't added a whole lot of new players on their roster that will fix that for them. So what I'm looking for from ASU in that game is just be aggressive on offense. You know that this team struggles on the defensive end. They have a lot of players who can shoot. They have a lot of players who can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. And just in general, the Sun Devils should try to exploit that weakness. Be aggressive on offense against a team that might struggle to keep up with you. And if they do those things in these two games, I'd expect 2 wins for ASU.
Well, you heard it from the insiders right here. And if you want to see any more of their content, check out CronkiteSports.com. But for now, I'm Eliav Gabay with Troy Tauscher and Steve Van Durme. Thank you so much for joining us for WCSN's coverage of ASU men's basketball, and we'll see you next time.